Did you miss the 𝗕𝗏𝗫 airdrop where people made up to $50,000? Or what about the ENS airdrop where people made $30,000, Uniswap $18,000, or even as recently as December last year, $6,000 on Aptos? Well, if you did, don't worry, because 2023 is another huge year for crypto airdrops, and there's many opportunities that I've got my eye on. So in today's show, I'm going to be running you through 10 of my favorite crypto airdrops for 2023, some of which are happening as soon as February this year, and we'll be going through the entirety of Q1 this year. I honestly haven't seen an airdrop boom this big since 2021. It's been quite a while since we've seen this much not only renewed interest in airdrops from the protocol side, but also new protocols launching in the market. And I think this is because a lot of projects delayed launching in the bear market last year and have now decided that market conditions are more favorable, that they can finally come out and launch. So now is a really good time if you're a new airdrop hunter to get into the game, and I'll be giving you my blueprint for 10 protocols. And at the end of the show, I'll also be giving you a bonus airdrop, which not many people are talking about, but I believe has potential to be huge this year. So make sure you stick around until the end of the video because you don't want to miss out on that one. But without further ado, let's get straight into the show. And the first airdrop I want to talk about is Celestia. Celestia is a modular blockchain, and modular blockchains are something I'm really excited about heading forward into the future. I do believe modular blockchains are going to play a part in the world of L1s, and Celestia is unique as it enables anyone to easily deploy their own blockchain with minimal overhead. So for the airdrop, there's a few things that you can do to get your hands on Celestia tokens, including setting up a wallet and getting testnet tokens, transacting on the network, and running a node if possible. But before I get into those exact steps, I want to explain exactly what Celestia does. So traditional blockchains or monolithic blockchains implement the four functions of consensus, execution, settlement, and data layer together in a single base consensus. But the problem with this is that the consensus layer must perform a lot of different tasks, and it can't be optimized for only one of these functions. So as a result, the monolithic paradigm limits the throughput of the system, whereas modular blockchains, they actually split up the consensus layer, which has a data availability layer beneath it, and then the settlement layer and execution layer are stacked on top in modular fashion. And they do believe this is a better way to scale and a more efficient way to run a network, as it takes some pressure off the consensus layer that monolithic blockchains do experience. Now, Celestia is one of the most heavily backed projects in crypto, and for good reason, because it's one of the first real attempts at creating a modular blockchain. We've seen Galaxy, Jump, 𝗕𝘆𝗕𝗵𝗶𝗆, Polychain all get involved with raises alongside Binance, who led the original seed raise. So it is heavily backed, and they did confirm on their website that they will be getting a token. So if they are getting a token, what are some of the steps you can complete to put yourself in the best position possible to get an airdrop? Now remember, with all these airdrops, nothing is guaranteed, but the more you do and the more ecosystems you expose yourself to, the more testnets you use, the higher chance you have of eventually getting an airdrop. Now sometimes this is thousands of dollars, like I explained at the start of the video, where some people made $6,000 on Aptos, $18,000 on Uniswap, etc. But sometimes this is only a few $100s. You might get an airdrop of $50, $100, $300. Nothing is guaranteed. However, you have to remember the law of compounding in crypto. If you can make just $1,000 off airdrops in 2023 and invest that $1,000 wisely, the next bull run you could have $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 if you invest it correctly. So any capital that you can earn now and any free capital that you can earn now essentially through airdrops, that is going to compound, and that can become quite a large amount in the future. So, I mean, don't underestimate the power of airdrops. I think even a few $100s can be great for some of these protocols, because the more you do, the more chances you have of getting airdrops across 10, 20, 30 ecosystems if you're really devoted to it. So I'll just be giving you 10 today that I think are good options to begin with. And yesterday I also did another airdrop video, which gives you another 10. There'll be a link in the description to that if you're a really busy airdrop hunter and you want to get into it. But for the Celestia airdrop, it's very simple. All you need to do is set up a Celestia wallet, get testnet tokens from their Discord. Like most of these airdrops, you will have to join their Discord so you can get access to their faucets, which gives you testnet tokens. Next, make a transaction on the network, and if you can, then you can run a node, and this will put you in the best position possible to receive an airdrop. Airdrop number 2 that I want to run you through is Fuel Labs. Similar to Celestia, Fuel Labs is also a modular blockchain, but what they are doing is working on building the first modular execution layer. So their Beta 2 testnet recently just went live, meaning there may be an opportunity for early adopters. Now, Fuel is very cool in my opinion, because as we can see, Ethereum has an issue, it has a scalability issue, and it has a gas fee issue. Now, what Fuel is doing is it's using Ethereum to settle transactions, but all the execution of those transactions are happening on a modular execution layer, which Fuel is providing, which enables them to alleviate pressure and congestion off the Ethereum network. But the cool thing about Fuel is that it's not just compatible with Ethereum, you can stack any EVM compatible blockchain on top of it, and Fuel can handle the execution for things like Cosmos and even Celestia. So you can have Fuel operating as an execution layer on top of other chains, which gives it that explosive potential to be used across the ecosystem as a whole. So Fuel is one that I'm excited about, and to get the Fuel Labs airdrop, there was a great thread by Adam's Research which outlines some of the steps that you can follow, which include downloading the Fuel wallet. Then the next step is creating a wallet, then joining their page and actually getting tokens for their testnet. You will need to connect to the 𝗕𝗏𝗃𝗫 testnet to do so, and essentially start using the network. Now, this is a very new network, so there hasn't been much activity on it so far. So I think you're early enough to put yourself in a good position to get an airdrop here, which is why there's not that many steps, because there's not that much of an ecosystem. But that's a good thing for you, because you can create a wallet, get involved with some tokens, start using the wallet, and that will put you in a good spot to get an airdrop. But just like all of these projects, you want to be in the Discords, you want to be following them on Twitter, so you can stay up to date with the latest updates, because Fuel might come out in a week and they might say, look, thanks everyone for downloading the wallet, thanks everyone for using the network. Now we're going to be running a tasks campaign, and if you complete these tasks, there'll be an incentive for those tasks. And the only way you're going to know if they launch a new campaign, unless you've really got your ear to the ground on Twitter, then you're going to need to be in the Discord or following them to get that latest update. So that's very important. All right, number 3 for today's video is QuaiNetwork. Now, Quai is an L1 network of chains which uses a combination of merge mining and sharding. It's a proof of work blockchain, and I don't talk about proof of work blockchains much because I don't necessarily believe it's the vision going forward. However, I do think Quai is doing an interesting job at their approach to merge mining. They're also implementing sharding as well, and they do have 5 testnets. So even though this isn't my favorite project on this list, from an airdrop perspective, I do think due to the incentives that they're giving out, it's going to be likely that we can receive an airdrop here. So essentially, to get a Quai airdrop, all you need to do is firstly join their Discord, like most of these projects. Then you'll need to go to their dashboard and connect your Discord account, so you can connect the two. Then you can start your campaign. So they have multiple initiatives for you to have more of a chance to receive an airdrop, which includes following some of the key players in the space, tweeting about the project. Basically, what they're doing is they're using their airdrop campaign as a way to get more social media buzz, and I think it does work. I mean, the long-term efficacy of something like this isn't quite proven yet, but in the short term, it does generate buzz, it does generate hype. So I do think it is a way for them to, get some initial users onto the platform. They also have campaigns across Reddit and TikTok, etc. So if you want to get involved in Quai, once again, not my favorite on this list, but certainly will have an airdrop. You can do so by following the steps outlined in this thread. And remember, every single one of these threads are linked in the description under my master thread, which I have linked for you. So if you also want a written format of how to complete these steps, you can do so using the link in the description in case you get lost or in case you want more details that weren't provided in this video. And in just a minute, I'll be running you guys through my charts to give you a bit of a perspective into how I'm trading and what I think is happening in the market right now as well. So stick around for that after this next airdrop. The next one's Arbitrum. Now, Arbitrum is an airdrop that people think is done. I'm hearing a lot of talk about it being too late to get an Arbitrum airdrop, and I would probably agree with that sentiment. However, there is still some indication that if you haven't used the Arbitrum network yet, there still might be an opportunity for you to get an airdrop. So Arbitrum essentially is an upcoming token, but obviously the network's been live for many months now, and it's garnered a lot of steam. It's a top 5 network by TVL. It's one of the top networks by transaction volume. It has amazing dApps in the ecosystem, so it may be too late here, but chances are you probably have already used the Arbitrum network. And if you did follow my steps that I outlined in October on my Twitter, then chances are you probably also have completed some of the 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 campaign, which was a campaign to get people using the network and consisted of completing tasks to use certain dApps on the network. So it is a very anticipated airdrop, which means it could be quite dilutive, but the But the kind of thing to take into account is it's also going to be a very big airdrop because they are an extremely popular project with an extremely big community, and they'll likely launch at quite a large valuation. So although the snapshot may be taken, there are some rumors that it hasn't been taken yet. So maybe just look into it. And if you haven't already, participate in governance, trade/swap on the network, hold an Arbitrum NFT, get in the Discord, of course, like all of these projects, complete the Arbitrum Nova campaign, and just, get involved with the ecosystem. And I did outline some steps on my Twitter as well. So Arbitrum, although it may be done, I think it's still worth a look at, and even more so, have a look at the ecosystem. Because just because something like a 𝗨𝗧𝗂𝗏, a zk-Sync, and Arbitrum may already have taken their snapshot, that doesn't mean the tokens in the ecosystem have taken their snapshot. So something you can do is go onto DeFi Llama and have a look at upcoming airdrops of projects that are launching but don't yet have tokens. And so go to DeFi, go to airdrops, and look at ecosystem tokens which don't have tokens yet, which may have an airdrop. For example, if we go onto this tab here, we can see 𝗷𝗵𝗏𝗧𝘂 is a new DEX launching on Arbitrum that may not yet have a token, that may have an airdrop. So it's something for you to research. 𝗕𝗏𝗕𝗫 Finance as well. We can see 𝗕𝗆𝗕𝗏𝗏𝗏, 𝗏𝗏𝗙𝗀. These are all projects launching on Arbitrum which don't have tokens that you could potentially go for. So something I would do is every single week, just go through the new projects on DeFi Llama, stay up to date with what is launching, maybe do a bit more research into them, join their Twitter, check out their Discord, search for some documents online, see if they have posted about a potential airdrop, see if there's a buzz about a potential airdrop, and you can get into the ecosystems. I don't think it's good enough, that you sit here and say, oh, damn, Arbitrum's done, oh, damn, 𝗨𝗧𝗂𝗏's done, when you've got all these ecosystem projects, the DEXs, the AMMs, the bridges, the games, the NFTs, that are all going to be launching that potentially may have incentives. So that is also something to take into account. I think it's an underrated strategy that not many people are completing. Before we get into the next airdrop, and remember at the end, there is a very, very cool one that I want to show you that I think is going to be one of the biggest projects in crypto one day. Let's go through the charts because a lot is happening in the market at the moment. Now, for the ones that watched my show yesterday, firstly, I want to say congrats because I gave you this Metas trade at 32.84 on this line here. And since then, it has absolutely exploded. It broke out to the upside, which is 11%. If you traded that with leverage, I told you guys you could trade it on KuCoin and I think 𝗶𝗀𝗏𝗶𝗵 as well. You would have probably made over 100%, which is a double your money in one day scenario. And it's not very often we get a breakout as strong as that gives you the chance to double your money in one day. Of course, you got to be careful with leverage, but it was a very good trade. So for everyone that got into this yesterday, congrats. Of course, I share my trades with you every single day, but this one really, really panned out well for us, and I'm happy with how it went. But what do I think is happening next? Well, the first thing we have to do is look at the Bitcoin chart. And just on the hourly here, we can see that we're still in a range. Now, there's been a couple times where we broke out above this range, so it does become quite hard to short. Although for the most part, we have adhered to this structure, which is essentially starting at 22.3 and going all the way up to 23.317. And we've had a couple instances of manipulation above. So right now, it's not really a long zone for me, unless Bitcoin manages to flip this top zone, confirm above on a higher time frame, and then make a higher high. So essentially, you could long here on the retest if there is confirmation on the hourly, but preferably something higher like the 4 hourly that confirms, we are breaking above and we can push to the upside. The only thing I'm worried about is FOMC this week, which could potentially mean there is volatility. So for me, I'm taking a cautious approach, and the only thing I'm really interested in doing right now is maybe taking a little bit of a scalp short at the top of the range here, setting a stop above in this range, and kind of playing it that way, playing more of the short-term trade and then waiting for FOMC. But I think Ethereum probably makes more sense from a short perspective as the price action has been a lot more bearish. Clearly, Bitcoin has the dominance in the market right now. With Ethereum losing relative strength to Bitcoin over the past few days, I think if we're going to short, we're better off shorting Ethereum. So for me, that level is at 16.03 to 16.04, and that would obviously mean a test of this level, a rejection, and then confirmation below. That would be a decent short trade. But once again, these aren't massive breakout trades. These are kind of just trades I'm looking at. So I'm going to place this right now, which is a limit short order at 16.03 with a stop loss at 16.25. The stop loss is so important because we're only going to lose 12% if this doesn't pan out. We're placing it here above these previous wicks. There was manipulation though, so there's a chance we do get stopped out, but I'm happy, with placing that level from a risk reward perspective, considering we have 2 TP zones. The first one's going to be mid-range at 15.60, and then the second one's going to be towards towards the bottom of the range at 15.20, which could potentially net us up to 50% profit on 10x leverage. That's what I'm using. You can choose obviously how much leverage you use. I'm opening this short on 𝗓𝗏𝗏𝗏, and I just need to confirm using my wallet as well. Pretty cheap. The fees on DEXs are extremely low, and it's very fast. So we can see my open order is in for ETH at this level at 16.03. Let's see how this pans out. And I do have a stop pretty tight above. So if we get stopped out, it's really not the end of the world. We only lose 12%. To trade on 𝗓𝗏𝗏𝗏, there's a link in the description. Right now, the reason I'm trading on there is because they have a trading competition of up to $100,000. So if you win the absolute P&L pool, which is a dollar P&L pool, you can win up to $50,000, and on the percentage P&L pool, so that's not based on how much you make, it's based on the percentage you make, so you can trade with as much money as you want. On that side of things, then you can also win $50,000. So in total, there's $100,000 in prizes. First place wins $20K. Even if you finish 5th place, it's still $2.5K. 10th place, $500. So there's decent rewards going around. So there's a link in the description to sign up for gains and trade in the comp. I'm giving it my best go in the comp. Let's see where I finish. We've had a bit of an inconsistent start, mostly because some of the altcoins that I've traded, like my 𝗵𝗃 short, which printed, and then obviously my Metis long, which printed, weren't available on the DEX. So that's one of the downsides. They didn't have the pairs, so I had to trade on Bybit for those ones, and KuCoin for Metis. But when we're trading Bitcoin, Ethereum, Phantom, there still is a lot of pairs that you can trade with. So yeah, you can do so on gains. And if you don't want to trade on gains, because the minimum is slightly higher than other exchanges, it's a position size of 7,500 DAI, so 750 on 10x or 375 on 20x. You can trade on Apex because they don't have a minimum trading amount. So if you're a bit of a smaller trader, you only trade with a few $100s, then I think Apex is a better place. We can see we're actually in profit on both our trades on Apex. There's a link in the description to that as well. They're built on StarkX. It's a very fast exchange and has very, very low fees as well. And you can trade on the Arbitrum network, BSC, or Polygon. So if you have a bit of a lower budget, you can trade on Apex, or if you want to take a shot at joining the comp, then you can trade on gains. Obviously, both links in the description. I do enjoy trading on DEXs at the moment though, because it's just so nice knowing that I keep custody over my own assets and I can trade somewhere that's fast and is compatible with MetaMask. So I'm not necessarily keeping all my funds on a centralized exchange. So I'm enjoying trading on DEXs, and I recommend you do the same if you haven't already. That's why crypto exists at the end of the day, to have great decentralized applications. So why not use them and get involved with the ecosystems? All right, let's continue with the airdrop show, because there are some crazy airdrops I want to show you, especially the last one. But let's get straight into it. I got 5 more to show you. The first one is Rage Trade, which I think is quite cool, because by using the Rage Trade application, you're setting yourself up not just for an Rage Trade airdrop, but an Arbitrum airdrop, because it's built on Arbitrum, 𝗏𝗏𝗏, because it utilizes 𝗏𝗏𝗏, and also the Rage Trade airdrop itself. So this one's quite cool. In case you don't know what Rage Trade is, it's essentially a trading platform which is building a liquid, composable, and omni-chain ETH Perp. It's the only one that's doing this. It's powered by Uni V3, so it's quite a novel way of setting up an exchange, which offers an ETH Perp with 10x leverage, omni-chain recycled liquidity, and yield generating 80/20 vaults, which are very, very, very cool. In fact, I have a thread here on the 𝗪𝗓𝒠 that Rage Trade is offering that I recommend you check out, by 𝗕𝗪𝗕𝗫 if you're interested. It essentially allows you to earn yield on your assets with a 15% APY, which is risk off, delta neutral, which is hedged against market volatility. So it's a very, very cool vault they're coming out with. And this is possible because of their structure and their mechanism. Recycled liquidity allows Rage to reuse ETH plus USD liquidity across chains of protocols to LP into the ETH Perp. So if you LP in AMMs, money markets, or derivatives. So I like their structure. It's very different to something like a Gains, which is Oracle based. It's not even order book based like Apex. It's going with a new liquidity model, kind of like an AMM through Uniswap, and offering trading that way. So this is quite cool. Got my eye on it. I think it's a cool project. And of course, they have an airdrop. So their token isn't out yet, but it's more than likely that it will eventually be the Rage token. And I think the way to get involved here, and the way to set yourself up for an airdrop, is simply just to get involved. So deposit USDC onto Rage Trade, get involved with some trading, deposit some money into the vaults, of course, join the Discord, and through the Discord, there's also a link to the guild to get involved. And yeah, just kind of get involved with the ecosystem, join the Discord, use the dApp. It's as simple as that. And you can set yourself up for a potential Rage Trade airdrop, and also maybe for Layer 0 and Arbitrum as well. So that's one that I am looking at. The next airdrop I'm looking at is Vertex Protocol. Now, Vertex is another upcoming DEX on Arbitrum, slightly different to Rage Trade though, and their token is launching soon, and they'll likely have an airdrop. So Vertex is essentially an integrated DEX with multiple features, including cross-margin spot and derivatives trading, a very fast order book, and lending and borrowing for yield or leverage via an integrated money market. So a little bit different to how Rage Trade is operating, but also a cool one launching on Arbitrum. And I think it's important to note just how many cool DEXs and AMMs and lending platforms and just DeFi in general is launching on Arbitrum. I mean, the ecosystem, it's already 160 protocols, and compared to Matic at 320, it already has more TVL. So I kind of think, like, what happens when Arbitrum gets to 320 protocols like Matic? Does the TVL suddenly double again and become a top 3 protocol? I mean, I don't know how much of this is down to people that are airdrop farming versus just the general adoption the network's got, but I think it's startling how fast L2s have grown, Arbitrum in particular, and yeah, just props to the Arbitrum developers and the ecosystem, because I've been very, very impressed, and there's been so many opportunities to make money in the ecosystem. Of course, I called QuaiNetwork at around $1 on the show, and then on my Twitter at 150, that ended up going to almost $7 at its peak. It's now around $6. We also called GMX earlier in last year. We also called 𝗷𝗂𝗫𝗵𝗫, all on the Arbitrum ecosystem before doing 3-4Xs. So we've done pretty well off the ecosystem as a whole, but there are still more opportunities, and I think now the airdrop opportunities are starting to come to light as we head into Q1 of 2023, and the Arbitrum token launch approaches. And I do think potentially we get that Arbitrum token launch at some time in Q1 this year. So for Vertex, there's a few ways that you can potentially get a token. The first thing you want to do is add the RPC on MetaMask. Of course, all the links to these threads are in the description if you want the exact steps. You want to bridge tokens from 𝗘𝗫𝗃 to Arbitrum 𝗘𝗃𝗃, claim USDC on the Vertex application, then deposit test USDC into Vertex. Then you're ready to test out the system. So you can do a bit of spot trading, do a bit of testnet perpetual trading. Remember, on testnets, you're not using real money, you're using testnet tokens, and then you can submit feedback. Maybe that can also be a requirement. So there are some pretty outlined steps that you can take, of course, as well as joining their Discord. You can kind of start getting involved with this ecosystem and set yourself up for a potential airdrop. In yesterday's video, I talked about another perp DEX that I'm looking forward to, which is 𝗏𝗏 or DXP, that's launching on Arbitrum, and how to get an airdrop there. So if you missed that video, I recommend checking it out. There'll be a link in the description to that, because I'm very excited for that perp DEX as well. And I think some of the projects I mentioned yesterday are also worthwhile getting involved in from an airdrop perspective. All right, we got 3 more here, actually technically 4 more, because I've got a bonus at the end. Is the MetaMask token is the first one, because a lot of people for a long time have been talking about a MetaMask token, and so have the team actually, and we haven't got it yet, but I think we're inching closer and closer and closer. So although most of us already use MetaMask, I do recommend using some of the features if you haven't already. For example, the swapping in the MetaMask app function, the bridging inside the MetaMask app function, and also just getting involved with DeFi on MetaMask. I think these are just the 3 things you can do to set yourself up for an airdrop. The longer you've been using MetaMask, the higher chance you have of receiving an airdrop. And we've seen swaps peak at $3 to $5 billion per month, which is quite crazy. Obviously, MetaMask being the most used wallet in crypto. Friendly reminder to use the swap and the bridge feature on all your wallets to qualify for the biggest airdrop we'll ever see. So there's a chance you've been using MetaMask for the last 3 years, but have only really bought some tokens, done a tiny bit of DeFi, and actually haven't used the bridging function and actually haven't used the swap function inside MetaMask. If you haven't done that, this is a reminder today to do that. Go into your MetaMask wallets, swap a few dollars on all your wallets, and start to get a little bit more active with using the inbuilt features, because they may end up rewarding those users the most that have actually used all the features of the wallet. Also quite cool, MetaMask now has over 30 million active users, but its UX is falling behind in many ways, in my opinion. So there can be opportunities in other wallets to start getting airdrops for wallets that don't have tokens. So 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 did a great thread that saying that it's not just MetaMask, but it's also wallets like 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, wallets like Block Wallet, Frame, xDeFi that could all potentially have airdrops. And these are all ones that I would check out, because I do think there are more opportunities in the wallet space as these wallets start to realize, well, MetaMask isn't perfect. They've been very slow to ship a token as well. Let's come in, let's steal some market share, and let's incentivize people to use the platform via an airdrop. So also make sure to check that out. on to the next one, which is Lens Protocol. And although this is the third last airdrop I'm talking about today, it certainly isn't the third least. It's actually one of my favorites. It's a decentralized social network with a very low carbon footprint and an established social media experienced Web3 team behind it. I have put 2 threads in the link in the description to the steps that you may be able to take to get a Lens Protocol airdrop. But the thing to understand is that it's a social graph. So it's built on Polygon, which is a proof of stake blockchain. And it's like a new social media platform, a Web3 social media platform designed to empower creators to own the links between themselves and their community. So creators can actually monetize their audience more efficiently, forming a composable user-owned social graph. So the users own the protocol, which is very cool. Decentralized social media is the easiest way to put it. The protocol is built from the ground up with modularity in mind, allowing new features and fixes to be added while ensuring immutable user-owned content and social relationships. So Lens is pretty cool in my opinion. And to get the airdrop, there are some simple steps you can do. Simply sign up for a Lens protocol profile, start posting a bit of content. So to do this, you need to download the 𝗕𝗏𝗏 app, and that's the gateway to Lens. Sign up, use the invite code 𝗨𝗵𝗏𝗏𝗏, and then continue and start a profile. You can buy a domain from OpenSea. If you want to invest some money for a potential airdrop, you can buy a Lens domain. Interact with some of the protocols. So you've got Lens Friends, which is one of the dApps built on Lens. You've got Lenster, you've got 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗶, and just interact with the ecosystem, set up a profile. If you want to buy a domain, you can buy a domain, and that can be a way to get an airdrop. But then there's also 31 dApps built on top of Lens that I think are all pretty cool, and I think you should try and use as many of these as possible. To get an airdrop, the more you do, the more chance you have of getting it at the end of the day. And although you are spending time, at least you're not investing money. So maybe it only takes you like 30 minutes a week to complete all these tasks. Maybe it takes you an hour a week. Maybe it takes you 2 hours. But at the end of the day, if you have some spare time, maybe just drop down the amount of Netflix you're watching and just replace it with some airdrop farming. And that can be a way to make some extra money in crypto and set yourself up for some, pretty good results heading into next cycle if you reinvest that money. So Lens Protocol, one to keep an eye on. All right, we got 2 more. The second last one is 𝗕𝗏𝗁𝗀. It's a gamified NFT Futures DEX. I actually think there's a lack of NFT trading solutions on the market. So the NFT market has some issues because although NFTs are great and the thrill of trading NFTs is great, I think many degens agree there's a lot of inefficiencies in the current way we trade and speculate on NFTs. I think it's very expensive. I think it's inflexible. I think it's largely illiquid. And I think that NFT futures are the natural progression. So being able to trade perpetuals of NFTs, I think it's pretty cool. And although they may not succeed on their vision here, I think what they're trying to do is quite cool. And I'm looking forward to seeing if they can actually execute on this vision because they just launched their testnet. So I think there's an opportunity for users to get an airdrop here. So the way to get whitelisted for their testnet is to register. So once again, it's linked to the registration link is in my thread. Then you'll need to go onto the 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 testnet to get tokens. So get testnet ETH. Obviously, it's free to get testnet ETH. Go to testnet.𝗨𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏.xyz, connect your wallet, switch to the Ethereum testnet network, and start trading on Tribe. So click on trade, select collections, use leverage to trade. So do a long order, do a short order, and get involved with actually using the platform. At the end of the day, airdrops exist because these protocols are trying to incentivize people to actually use the platform. So why not get involved? Why not use the platform and set yourself up to get an airdrop there? Now, the last airdrop I want to talk about, and I have said at the start of the video, this is one that I'm really looking forward to, is Aztec. And the reason why I'm looking forward to Aztec is because I believe zk-Rollups are the future of scaling Ethereum. I've been a proponent of this for a while, and in recent times, we've seen the ZK narrative explode, with many tokens in this niche performing super well. And when I look at upcoming ZK tokens and their potential, I think Aztec stands out to me because of the crazy backers that it has. It's backed by A16Z in a $100 million raise. You also have 𝗕𝗁𝗏𝗏𝗏 joining along. You have Paradigm, Variant Capital, Coinbase also came in on an original funding round, Consensus as well. I mean, just huge backers that are backing Aztec, and their vision is very cool in my opinion. So they're a privacy ZK rollup on Ethereum. So combining the ZK scalability narrative with the privacy narrative, which enables decentralized apps to access privacy and scale. Their rollup secured by its industry standard Plonk proving mechanism used by leading ZK knowledge scaling projects. And I do think Aztec's cool because it's delivering privacy without compromise, as well 𝗕𝗆𝗄𝗡 scalability. So I recommend checking out Aztec. And the reason, I was so hyped about this one is because I think we're relatively early to Aztec as well. And I think because there hasn't been many announcements about a token, because there's not much buzz online about an airdrop, because we simply don't have that much information yet, you have an opportunity to be really early to this one. Because there's, no official announcement, big VCs, which means eventually they're going to need a token so those VCs can make money. And there's a few things you can already do now to start qualifying for an airdrop. So you can use the protocol's features. So, get a little bit of ETH ready, shield your ETH, which will eventually become zk-ETH once the network's live, send funds to a wallet on the network, withdraw to Ethereum, and use the earn tab. So you want to register on zk-Money to do so. You want to go to zk.money/earn to start getting involved with its DeFi, shielding ETH, which is like locking ETH essentially on zk.money/balance, sending money between 2 or more wallets to just show you're using the network and being active, and then withdraw some ETH back to the L1. So go to zk-money/balance, click withdraw to L1 and add the receipt. It's quite simple. These steps right now are very simple. Of course, joining the Discord, following them on Twitter are going to be great ways to stay up to date with any new announcements, but you can get involved with this one now, and I do think Aztec eventually is going to be a prominent project if they can succeed on their vision, alongside other big ZK solutions like obviously the upcoming 𝗕𝗁𝗏𝗄𝗏 by Polygon, and also zk-Sync, which is touted to be one of the biggest protocols in crypto eventually. So I've got my eye on Aztec Network. Just a few tips before I leave you guys today to actually have a higher success rate of getting these airdrops is the first thing, like I've been banging on about this whole video, staying up to date with project updates. If you're going for an airdrop, you got to stay in the loop. So anytime you're going for an airdrop, join the project's Discord, follow them on Twitter, and stay organized. So what you can actually do on Discord is create a folder with all your potential airdrops that you're looking at farming and put them all in the one folder. So every single day or every week, however much time you have, you can go through and see if you have project updates and stay up to date with what all those projects are doing. And the only way you're going to do so is if you're organized and you have a folder in Discord. So if you're going for an airdrop, stay in the loop. It's very important, and also follow them on Twitter. The second thing is make sure to manage your time efficiently, stay active on chain, and come up with a schedule for your airdrop farming. So maybe just write in your calendar and devote some dedicated time every week to looking at new airdrops on DeFi Llama, looking at new upcoming airdrops on Twitter and Discord, and also actively managing your current airdrops that you're going for. So doing some activities on chain, bridging funds, getting involved with dApps. It doesn't take much time, it doesn't take much money, but it can yield some great results. So Mingo Airdrop did a great thread on the steps that he's using on how to keep up to date with airdrops. The other thing I want to just reiterate is nothing's guaranteed. As I mentioned at the start of the video, a lot of the time the amount that projects give you is negligible. You might only get $20 or $100 for a project. But sometimes you eventually hit a really big airdrop. 1,000, 2,000, 6,000. I mean, Uniswap was 18,000. I'm not saying it's always going to be the case, but Optimism was 50,000. So that it is possible to do those kind of numbers. Look, it's more likely that's going to happen in a bull run. So maybe you get an airdrop now, you hold on to it, and then the bull run it's worth 50K. And I also think that's a big long shot in most cases. So do, dampen your expectations. But even like $100, $500, $1,000, all this money adds up. And if you can just make a couple $1,000s off airdrops in 2023, then that could potentially be 20K in the next bull run. And then that starts to become a substantial amount of money. Or it could be even more if you invest really well. I'm kind of being conservative with, taking a 10x approach here. So every single dollar counts. The more you do, the higher chance you have of getting an airdrop over time. And just think about it like a lottery ticket. If you enter the lottery, if you have 10 tickets, you have a much higher chance of winning the lottery than if you have one ticket. You have a 10x chance of winning the lottery. If you buy 50 tickets, you have a 50 times chance of winning the lottery. The more tickets you buy, the more chance you have of winning. But with airdrops, the cost is not money. Whereas lottery tickets, you might have to pay $20 per ticket, $10 per ticket. You're going to spend more money trying to get more tickets to enter the lottery. With airdrops, they're free, or in many cases, they're very cheap, like a couple dollars to get involved. Maybe just gas fees will be the cost. But the difference is you're spending your time. So if you have some free time, or if you can set aside some free time, you can get free lottery tickets basically. And that's why I like airdrops, because you invest based on time, not money. And for a lot of people, that is a better trade-off. For some people, it's not. If you're a business owner or there's things you can do that are more efficient, then of course, do that thing that is more efficient. It's all about opportunity cost in life and crypto, obviously. But if you do have some spare time, it is worth getting involved with airdrops, in my opinion. And also remember, as I mentioned earlier in the show, that ecosystem projects that could potentially have airdrops are very much worth going for. So just because Arbitrum or 𝗲𝗄𝗽𝗶𝗶 or zk, you think they're done, you think their snapshot's over, don't be so close-minded. Look at the upcoming projects in the ecosystems. Start preparing yourself for those projects, because if they have airdrops, they could potentially be just, if not more lucrative than the base layer itself. So make sure to keep your eye out for that. Of course, I'll keep you updated on my Twitter, where I'm going to be posting individual threads on Cosmos, Arbitrum, and those ecosystems. And of course, I'll bring those to you guys in show format, maybe next week or the week after. So if you're not subscribe to the channel, make sure you subscribed and hit on the post notification bell to stay up to date with new uploads, because I will keep you guys updated and do my best job there. Before I head off, just remember, if you want to trade, there's links in the description to Gains Network and Apex, which are decentralized exchanges. If you don't like DEXs, I don't know why you wouldn't, but if for some reason you don't, then of course we have a massive sign up bonus for Bitget, which is $30,000. So if you sign up for a new trading account, deposit, you could potentially get up to $30,000 depending on how much you deposit. So that's pretty crazy if you're more into the centralized exchanges. But right now, I'm enjoying trading on decentralized exchanges as well. I'm going to head off. I will see you tomorrow in the next video. And until then, peace out, guys. Hope you have a lovely day.